confinement with that? Is that the idea?
Guess so, right?
Okay.
So maybe going to tempt Mueller into getting a dove skate. 48 at 10 from the form. Yeah, second form. This is lethal next turn. Yeah, and 48 scoops him up. So game one, Andre Mueller. One Lotus Bloom was good enough. The other one got stifled, but Mueller's 7 mana, enough to cast Enduring Ideal, played it safe, didn't open up a window for Venser to hurt him, and he takes a 1-0 lead. Now, what happens to these decks after sideboarding?
Let's take a look. We see 48's options include Pithing Needle, 2 Engineered Explosives, 3 Engineered Plagues, 2 Loxodon Hierarchs, 2 Tormod's Crypts, 2 Putrefies, and 3 Ancient Grudge. Could choose to bring in, I don't think he's going to bring in Grudge. Putrefy does not hit enchantments, correct? That's only Mortify hits enchantments.
Right.
So that's not quite going to do it. Not really sure. I guess he brings in additional Engineered Explosives as a way to deal with solitary confinement and then hope to Venser the other key pieces. Maybe he sees how that game could have played out differently. But it doesn't look like he has a great sideboard for this matchup. As far as Andre Mueller, what's he going to bring in? You know, I mean, he brought in the Pyroclasm, maybe he'll bring in that Cranial Extraction.
Ha!
Yeah, he doesn't, I guess he brings in the Besiegers again.
I think so.
To fight through Counterspell, and then he just has to stagger his...
He needs to be careful and play around Venser.
Yeah, to stagger things for Venser. Again, there's only 2 Vensers.
Right.
So, you know, it's what we've talked about a lot about redundancy and sort of having this better chance off the top of your deck on the cards you need with only 2. Although he does have the tops. So, see 8 tops in the finals of the Pro Tour. Cards become an extended staple.
Andre Mueller is 27 years old. Pretty much a professional gamer. Does some dealing of cards on the side. 20 Pro Tours on his resume. Qualified via Grand Prix Stockholm, top 16 there. Does have a couple of GP top 8s.
Yep.
This is his second Pro Tour top 8.
If you care.
He feels like this Enduring Ideal deck beats aggro cold between solitary confinement, Form of the Dragon. It's just really easy to shut the aggro deck down, but it is not vulnerable to graveyard hate. We were talking about that earlier. There's a lot of degenerate decks in this format. There's a lot of ways that you can sort of go off and do something sort of fundamentally unfair. But now of those decks, what are people ready to beat? You know, the Dredge deck is allegedly the most powerful deck in the format, but it's so vulnerable to Leyline of the Void and Tormod's Crypt. It's something like an Ideal deck, maybe not objectively as powerful, but it's a tricky deck to hate out. You gotta have, you know, Kami of Ancient Legative creatures to destroy enchantments.
Right, which
and the dealer sold out of them halfway through Thursday.
It also steers you to a certain type of deck if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
Right. This is an interesting matchup in that the Ventures are just, you know, very good. What's kind of interesting is there was a point where the Manual B deck had Riptide Laboratory.
Mm-hmm.
So you could do a recursive Venser. Well, recursive Venser doesn't necessarily sound great, you know, terribly exciting in a lot of matchups.
Right.
It's really exciting in this matchup.
It's true. Andre explained how he prepared for this tournament. So it's kind of interesting that he had sort of all of the qualified Germans from his area. They just took over his house for 5 days. A boot camp, if you will.
Boot camp, yeah. The German players definitely seem to be, you know, we always talk about the Dutch, we always talk about the French, we're talking a lot about the Brazilians, you know, obviously always talk about the Japanese, but we've definitely seen a rising tide on the German Magic scene.
There was a dry spell once Kai retired.
Yeah.
Felt like Kai went away, and it was just this power vacuum, but you've seen a lot of good German players come out in recent years. I mean,
And even a lot of older players. I mean, David Brooker's been around for a long time,
Sure.
but he's continued to do well.
Yeah, Mueller's not exactly young.
Yes.
But then you see like a Jan Moritz Merkel come up and win a Pro Tour.
Right.
Yeah.
Rosario Mige and
Aaron
some
Brackman,
other guys, yeah.
some of those guys.
Yeah, Andre seems almost like the herder of the Japanese Magic, of the German Magic scene. He seems to be kind of the guy that's like, when German players are getting together to go for dinner after a Pro Tour, he seems to be like, hey guys, all right, let's get, sort of pulling it together and driving it. And sort of become an elder statesman for that at 27.
Sure.
Community.
That used to seem like an elder statesman.
What's that?
That used to seem like an elder statesman. I remember when I was 27.
Well, you always filled that role in your.
Yeah, it was about 27.
Yeah. Sure. You sort of would lead the CMU boot camps.
Sure.
So it's kind of important to have someone take charge.
It's true.
Because people left to their own devices, people just aren't going to play test.
Draft.
They can barely get together to go for dinner. Right? Doesn't think about it. Think about just getting your friends together to go for dinner. And unless someone finally says, guys, we're going for pizza, you're going to just sit there and argue and digress, and it's not going to come together, and everyone's going to be hungry. And it's the same way with playtesting. Unless someone really forces that issue in a play group, and someone really takes the lead, starts the mailing list.
You got to have rules.
Yeah, you need to have rules. Distribute the deck list that you're going to playtest this. You're going to playtest this matchup.
And you can't veto dinner unless you suggest another option.
Right.
You got to have rules about these things.
Right. Sure, it's very important. So, we're underway here. I love how there's so much life change and extended without anything happening. You play a couple lands, someone's at 17, someone's at 19.
Dark Confidant's a pretty good start. Speaking of changing life totals with, well, I guess there's definitely something happening. Fortier surveys his options. They include Tarmogoyf, Shite, and sitting on Counterspell.
Counterbalance hits play. How many sevens does Fortier have in his deck?
You're taking me.
Okay. It's my totals. 3. He's at 13 already. He's giving himself done one full form of the dragon hit to himself already.
There's the drum roll.
Slow start for Andre.
Yeah, he's only got he's got 3 lands.
That
but
looks a lot better with 2 suspended lows.
It really does. Fortier is losing the race to his own Dark Confidant, though.
His lands aren't helping him either.
No.